It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
This is Dan Jurgen.
This is Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action.
This is Mark Wade, writer of Superman Birthright.
And you're listening to the Krypton Report.
The Krypton Report podcast is dedicated to all things Superman, Supergirl, and the planet Krypton. We discuss movies, TV, game, comics, and all things DC. So join me, Tyler, with my co-host James and Jania. Welcome to the Krypton Report. It is I, your host, the Superman of Blue, Tyler. And with me, as always, the man of muscles, the man of might, the beard amongst men, James, the Superman of Red. How you doing, James?
Pretty good. How's it going?
We got two special guests tonight. We have Alora. Hi, Alora.
She's very vocal tonight.
Yeah, she is. And then we have my new friend, Ryan. Hey, Ryan, how's it going?
It's going well, good sir. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here on the show, on the set, virtually, however we do this. And yeah, I'm ready to talk some awesome stuff, which I'm sure is going to be a good topic for us tonight. Let's do it.
Ryan, if anyone doesn't know, Ryan was one of the panelists. Him and I hosted a Smallville panel, and then we chatted some more at the Multiverse fundraiser. And we just kind of hit it off, and I was like, dude, you got to come on. We got to talk some more. So here he is. He's joining us today to talk about the third episode of season 2 of Superman Lois, The Thing in the Mines. Now, before we get started on the episode, I feel like there's like one piece of DC news that I didn't jot down because like just happened, and now I don't know what it was. So it must be nothing like super big. I don't know. You guys think of anything?
No, nothing lately. The last thing I can think of was some set videos, just spy videos for Batgirl.
Yeah, the Batgirl costume was revealed for the upcoming like series or film, and then the second thing I remember hearing is that someone posted that they're not going to include the origin story of Batman in The Batman that's coming out in March.
Wow, could you imagine if that was true? I got thinking about it. So Batgirl is supposed to come out just like around the end of this year, and Michael Keaton is supposed to be in that film. So could we be getting another appearance of Michael Keaton Batman in 1 year?
That'd be awesome because he's great, and I miss him, and it would be great to see him in the Cal again. We got a little tease of it in the Flash teaser behind-the-scenes footage that they played during DC Fandom, which so many different words to say, but which looked cool. I mean, I'm down to see it. I'm like, I didn't believe any of the stuff that Michael Keaton was coming back until I actually saw the teaser of that footage of him in the Cal, and I'm like, oh, he is coming back, so this is real. Okay, Keaton, good to see you 30 years later, buddy.
So yeah, we'll just kind of see how that goes. But I got thinking about that. And what's weird is right before we jumped on, I'm seeing where they're talking about Grant Gustin signing on a contract for the Flash season 9. But in my mind, I was kind of like, didn't he already sign his contract for that? I thought that was already like signed, but guess not. But anyways,
it was. There's going to be a season 9, but they're not sure if it's going to be the last season or not.
Please be the last, because I don't want anything to surpass Smallville.
Yeah, I mean, 10 seasons, that's
hard to beat.
I mean, it is, especially in this climate where you do an amazing show and then it gets canceled after like the first episode. Looking at you, Swamp Thing.
Yep.
So yeah.
There's some stuff going on in the DC realm, but isn't there always? That's the crazy thing about life. There's always something going on.
Yeah, there is.
There's always something going on.
Silence.
It's just there's something. It's bugging me because I knew there was something I saw, and I'm like, what was it?
This is going to be killing. This is going to be killing Tyler throughout the entire night. This is going to kill him.
Well, I was very, very busy today, so I have not had any chance to look. So if something new popped up today, I did not see it.
I feel like it was yesterday or the day before.
With the lovely Alora, so you got your hands full, buddy.
I feel like it was like yesterday or two. I don't know. It wasn't that big a deal, or else I would remember it because you know me, I remember everything.
You're very good at taking notes and putting together PDFs for people to look at and realize, oh my gosh, there's too much to do.
Or you realize, oh my gosh, this man has no life and watches way too much DC content.
Seriously, it's annoying at times. I can't stand it.
Little column A, little column B.
Have you watched?
He's very good at putting things in column A, column B, and then there's column C, and I'm thinking, Tyler, why?
Have you guys, James especially, have you watched any more of Naomi since the pilot?
Actually, yeah, we watch it right after Superman and Lois. It's
how convenient on Tuesday nights.
How's it been? Like I haven't watched past the pilot.
It's been okay. A little slow.
Yeah.
I just was not impressed.
Is Stephanie March from Law and Order SVU one of the like leaders of the group in that show? Because I feel like I saw her during a teaser for episode 3.
I don't.
She's like a 40-ish-year-old blonde woman walking around with her hair tied back.
Oh, she's in there. Yeah, she's in there, and she plays one of the other extraterrestrials or one of the other aliens.
Oh, okay. All right. I see you, Alexandra Cavill from SVU, still landing on your feet, getting a paycheck. Good for you, Stephanie March.
Yeah. So it's the parents revealed that they knew she was, or that she came. That they knew she was an alien of sorts. So, just kind of, it's kind of a slow burn. So, okay.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
I mean, to be fair though, it's a premise we've seen a million times. So I don't see how Naomi's going to break any new ground necessarily. But then again, I could be wrong. I haven't seen one look at the show other than the trailers and the promos that I see during episodes of Superman and Lois, and that's it. That's all I see. It's like, okay, I've seen this show before. You know, like, what are you going to do? You're going to break some new ground? If you are, good luck. If not, whatever.
See, I'm more interested in the show, just like where it ties in with Superman or Superman. And after our conversations we had, James, like about that whole thing, I'm kind of curious there. But hey, we got some questions because we have a new guest, and as always, when we have a new guest, we got to ask questions.
The guy with the wings, he's Thanagarian, and he does say that Superman's real, and he said that he's fought alongside of him, but that's it. Like, there's no, I'm not sure what, where, when, you know what I mean, this is supposed to take place, because basically the only thing that I know for sure about Naomi from the comics is she comes from another Earth, and on that other Earth, supers like took over the planet. That's about the extent of all I know.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even know this. I didn't even know this was based on a previously known property.
So,
yeah,
Naomi was Brian Michael Bendis created her when he came over to DC under the Wonder Comics imprint.
Oh, and,
okay. She had a mini series that introduced her. So it seems like the show is kind of like an introduction to some of the story of at least her homeworld, the way her life began. I'm not sure. I haven't read it, so the only thing I know is that and what I got from some of his Justice League run.
Interesting. I was, in the words of our good friend Wayne Campbell, I was not aware of that. I learn something new every day on any show that I'm on. I learn something new. I was not aware that Naomi was based on a previously known property by Brian Michael Bendis, no doubt. So there you go.
Yeah, between me and James, I feel like you'll get educated.
Oh yeah, if I haven't been educated enough through your private messages with your PDF files that you keep sending all of us in that group chat that we're in, which is just, you're killing me, man. You're killing me.
Yeah. Okay, here's my first question to you.
Questions.
All right, we ask questions of every new guest that we have on. Who? There's no wrong answer. It's all subjective to your personal taste. But who is your favorite live action Superman? Go.
Live action Superman? It's got to be the one who never got his own trilogy. Unfortunately, I got to go with Henry Cavill. I saw Man of Steel in theaters 5 times. I think it's the best and most underrated comic film that's ever been made in the last 10, 20 years. I think Henry Cavill's a great actor with a lot of talent. I mean, I know he's moving up in the world with his Witcher series, and he's got other projects in the works, and he's a very hardworking individual, and that's fine. But he never got his own trilogy after Man of Steel. He was shoved into the DC cinematic universe without really having his own trilogy to ground his character and get things going with him and his mythology within Superman. So, but I love Man of Steel and I love the film and I don't care what anyone says. So Henry Cavill, he's my boy. I love Henry Cavill and I love Man of Steel.
Yeah,
so much so that I went to a preview screening of it like 2 nights before it was released to the public through Walmart. Remember Walmart was selling those tickets?
Yeah, I got
You had to go there and get in line and buy the ticket and whatever it was. I was like the first person in line at my local Walmart, Wally World, as Keisha likes to call it. And I said, this trailer looks great. This film looks great. I hope it lives up to the hype. And boy, did it ever. I love that film so much.
Yeah, it's absolutely still my favorite DCEU film.
See, that's the thing. Like, it kicked off the DC, what we thought was going to be a great DC cinematic universe so well. And then it just went in a different direction, which is a conversation for another day. But yeah, Man of Steel is great. I like Man of Steel. So there you go. Does that answer the question there, Tyler? I think it does, because you know a thing or two about Superman, because you won't shut up about him. So yeah, Henry Cavill's my boy.
That's what we do over here.
Trunks or no trunks?
Anything wrong with that?
Trunks or no trunks?
No trunks. I like Cavill's suit with no trunks. I like the suit. The suit looks great. I think it's different. It's an alternate take on the story. It's an alternate take on the character. And I think what Zack Snyder did with that film, Man of Steel, and what he did with Henry Cavill as a whole was very unique and different. And that's what I like about it.
All right. So here's my next question. Which is your favorite Henry Cavill suit?
I mean, doesn't he, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't he only wear like 2 of them? He wears the red, yellow, and blue in most of the films, and then he wears the black one in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Isn't that the only 2 suits that he wears?
He has the Man of Steel suit, the BVS suit, the black suit, and then you have the Justice League suit.
Oh, that's true. That's right.
So you have 4 suits.
Oh, darn. Well, I mean, I like bright colors, but at the same time, Man of Steel is still my favorite film, so I'll go with the Man of Steel suit. Plus, the way it was presented to him with the voiceover of Jor-El, played by the very incredible Russell Crowe, who to me is him and Pa Kent, like the 2 fathers in that movie, are true standouts, as well as Diane Lane too. She's fantastic as Mama Kent. But yeah, Jor-El, Russell Crowe, it was tailor-made for him. He did such a great job. So I'm going with the Man of Steel suit to answer the question.
All right, James. Any other questions you got for him? I think he pretty much, the other ones I had, I think he pretty much answered inside his answers here.
So we know Man of Steel is your favorite live action. What about your animated movies?
There's a plethora of them.
What's your favorite animated Superman?
Oh, animated Superman movie. Oh my gosh. I haven't seen all of them. That's my problem. Like, I haven't really seen a lot of them. I've seen some of them, don't get me wrong, but I haven't seen all of them. But of the ones I've seen, I kind of liked... where was the one where... Oh, gosh, this is tough. This is really tough, because there's so many different iterations of the character. Like Justice League Apocalypse War, I thought was pretty cool. Gosh, favorite animated... If we're going DC animated films, like not counting the ones that were based around the TV series, like the animated series from 96 to 2000, whatever it was, probably going with... this is so tough, guys. I haven't seen it in a while, but it's one of the first things that comes to my mind. I liked what they did in, what was it, Superman, Batman, Public Enemies? I think that's what it was called.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
It was either Public Enemies or the one where... What was the one where Supergirl appears?
That one is
Unbound.
Apocalypse.
There's Superman, Batman, Apocalypse, and there's Superman Unbound.
Yeah,
I think it was Superman and Batman Apocalypse, wasn't it?
Yeah, if it's got Batman in it, that's the one.
Okay, I liked that one. I like that one. Plus, I didn't mind his version of the character in. I know this isn't a Superman film; it's a Batman film, but Dark Knight Returns. I liked how Superman, did his thing in that when he had to fight with fight with the Dark Knight, a grizzled, hardened Batman. I like that too. So I don't know. There's too many versions to count. So we'll just go with Public Enemies or probably Apocalypse, because that one's a bit darker than Public Enemies. So I'll go with Superman, Batman, Apocalypse.
All right, cool.
I'd have to go back and really think about it, but right now one of the first things that comes to mind is just because I like the appearance of Supergirl, and I think Supergirl doesn't get a whole lot of great, on-screen adaptations. We all know what happened in 1984, don't we?
Yes.
So, yeah, we don't talk about that.
Yeah,
but
Summer Glau voiced her in that, and there was that really awesome fight scene at the end.
Summer Glau, she's a great actress too. I mean, I met her at a convention one time. I had her sign a print that when she was on the show Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles, which was a really good show in the first season, then just kind of wet the bed in season 2.
Yep.
No offense.
Yeah, it did.
But yeah, it did. It jumped the shark. But yeah, Superman Batman Apocalypse. I think it's a good movie, and we get a good a hardcore version of Supergirl that we hardly if ever see. So I like that.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what I'm going with.
Next question or thought I just had.
Sure.
And I totally forgot because my mind moves faster than I can think. Okay, so let's jump here to Superman and Lois. What did you boys think of last week? Just shortly, last week's episode. Since Ryan, this is your first time on the show, then James didn't get to join last week. What are your thoughts on last week's episode?
Go ahead, Ryan.
Okay, didn't want to steal your thunder there, James, because you're the Chewbacca to his Han Solo, so I didn't want to take over the co-pilot seat here.
It's an accurate statement, but
no, it's okay. It's cool. Hey, it's all good, man. It's all good. But anyway, to answer the question, what did I think of the latest episode, episode 3? Here's the thing. Superman and Lois, my history with it is a bit complicated because I watched most of season 1 and then I stopped, and then I came into season 2 and I watched the first 3 episodes, so I'm kind of slowly but surely starting to get back into it. So after watching this week's episode, it's good, but I thought the reveal of who was giving him headaches, who was giving Superman nightmares and visions of something bad is about to happen, something is about to transpire, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The reveal of that, I think, could have been much better than what it was. I mean, I understand why they went in that direction because they don't want to give away too much too soon, but at the same time, it was a bit of a letdown for me. I'm thinking to myself, oh, this version of this character isn't going to last very long. Even if it does, he'll be over by season's end, just like they did with last season's quote-unquote big bad, which, by the way, the reveal of who the big bad was at the end of season 1, because the first 3 episodes of this season I've been catching up with some stuff, so just bear with me on this. I'm thinking, okay, interesting reveal, didn't see that one coming, alright, get a little bit of stuff in the Fortress. Oh, and the Fortress stuff I thought was cool. And then in this week's episode, we find out what's been giving him headaches, and I'm thinking, okay, I see why you went that route, but you really could have done much better. But overall, I think the show's fine. I'm liking it to a degree, but at the same time, I'm seeing stuff I've already seen in previous shows, Smallville, and they did it better, in my opinion. I mean, granted, this is a completely different iteration, so you got to take everything with a grain of salt. I understand that, but I thought the show was fine. I think it's fine. I don't think it's necessarily it's good. I don't think it's great yet. I think the show is still trying to find its footing. And by the way, I find it really strange to wrap my head around the fact that Tyler Hoechlin and Bitsy Tulloch are in their 30s or 40s, and they have 2 teenage boys, where all 4 of them don't look that different in age. I feel like the boys are 5 or 6 years younger than Tyler and Bitsy, and they're just playing these characters. You see what I'm saying? It's very weird, because when I look at Tyler and Bitsy, I look at a 25-year-old dude and a 35-year-old woman. You know what I'm saying? I don't see a
That's
mother
crazy.
and a father and 2 sons. I just don't see it because they look very, very similar in age. I mean, Bitsy, I can tell has aged. I can tell that she's coming up on her age, but Tyler and the boys, they haven't aged a day since the show started.
Well, it's just crazy you say that because, let's see. Bitsy was born in 81.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, her age is clearly showing on the show, but I feel like everyone around her is 5 or 10 years younger than she is.
Let's see. I'm trying to remember. Tyler is, he was born. Let's see,
Isn't he
in
87?
Oh my God, he's almost my age. Oh my God.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And then the boy. But my thing is, one, I roll with it because he's Kryptonian. He ages slower. So I already know he's going to look younger.
They've included that in other iterations of the character within movies and shows. So
even in this continuity, they addressed it that he was Kryptonians start to age slower on Earth because that's how they explain why he looked young as when he was with Kara. So.
Got it. Okay, well, that clears that part up, but I still have a hard time wrapping my head around that he has 2 teenage boys. It's just weird for me, man. But I mean, Bitsy Tulloch is showing her age. Nothing against you, Bitsy. I'm not trying to say that you're, not pretty, but I'm just saying, like, your age is definitely showing. And that's okay, because that shows your progression of your character. There's nothing wrong with that.
James, what do you think of last week's episode?
Last week's episode? So,
yeah.
Last week's episode, there was... it's been a while now, so I kind of, like... Some of it's gone out of my mind.
You and me both.
So last week's episode, just some of the things that stand out was the mine scene and the big old suit and the lights, the mineralogist's woman. Clearly behind something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, it absolutely made me excited for the next episode, this week's episode. It was a build up, over the last 3 episodes, and, John Henry going to the mines to help Lois, and the way they figure out that it coincides with the earthquakes and Clark's visions, the way it coincides. It was pretty. I like that. Now I'm trying to put it back together. I'm trying to remember now.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
There's a lot going on, man. Seriously, and the weird thing is that John Henry and what's the girl's name? Natalie? Is that her name? The daughter? Okay. That is just plain weird. It's like, why would you stay in Smallville if you want to start like a new life for yourself? You guys gotta like move. I mean, I understand why they're keeping them there because John Henry Irons is so connected to Superman as Steel. Like, I get that. But it's like, let the character and his daughter have their own life that's outside of Smallville. Not everything has to revolve around Smallville. I get that the show's set there, but it's like, there's a big world out there, Clark. You ever realize that?
I just couldn't figure out why they went to Metropolis and she enrolled in the school that she went to when she was on the other Earth. Like, why not head out west and start completely fresh? With his connection, knowing Sam Lane and the DOD, he can have new passports, new identities created, or as I suggested before, they said that John Henry had died on our Earth. And they could have just kind of brought him back, quote unquote, and say that he was undercover. If he wanted to resume the life as John Henry Irons, and kind of because we have that whole open thread that he has a sister in Metropolis. But I like him being around, but I kind of would have liked maybe like him and Natalie left and then they come back like in episode 3 or 4. Because of something that's going on and they need his help. Like they kind of went off to do their own thing.
Sure.
But the problem with that is kind of actors and contracts. When you learn the back end about how things get done and you realize like you can't keep the people waiting. Like they have other things or scheduling or whatever that if you were to do something like that, you could potentially lose the actor or it becomes less of them in the story or whatever. But
no, I guess I can kind of see where you're going. But the reveal of who was giving him headaches and stuff, I really thought it should have been their version of Doomsday. I would have loved that.
So let's get into this week's episode.
Oh yeah.
And episode 3, The Thing in the Mines. And let's just start.
It is now.
Yeah, let's just jump in. We'll start with the ending and kind of work our way backwards because that was the big thing about this was who was going to be the villain of this episode. And we've got
questions. I was going to say I was going to jump into it before we reveal who it was.
No, go for it.
I had a couple of questions as to like where did this person come from? Why the containment suit and why 8 feet tall? Like the way that it was built up and the way that everybody thought it was going to be was absolutely Doomsday. Coming out of the earth, containment suit, and then especially when it comes out and it's 8 feet tall. but then they're fighting and it's flying around. And then with the destruction of the suit, we get the reveal of who it is.
Did you think? I mean, I told you before I didn't think it was going to be Doomsday. Like I just did not think they would, and I was like, I don't think they're actually going to do Doomsday. And if they did, especially, I said after the first episode, I was like, okay, if it's a tease to where like it's kind of ongoing thing throughout the season, and Doomsday appears at the end. But then in episode 2, they start doing it again, and we get more, and it starts to tie. I'm like, nah, it's not going to be Doomsday. So many people are pissed that it wasn't Doomsday
because they did a misdirection. I mean, I'm not upset about it, and to be honest, I thought he actually looked really cool. But yeah, it was a complete misdirect.
I mean, I think
we're showing you Doomsday, huh? No,
I think Levi, who was on last week with me, had a great idea if it was Wraith from the Superman Unchained, because Wraith worked for the military and stuff. That would have been neat. I told you before, what if it was Rogol Zaar just to piss people off? But yeah, it was, the containment suit was cool. It was a red herring because that's what we're so used to with Doomsday. I mean, think about it. If we want to jump back to Smallville, they did Doomsday without ever doing the containment suit. They completely did it differently, their own way.
Davis Bloom was the containment suit.
Yeah.
Played by the incredible Sam Witwer.
Oh, Sam Witwer is amazing. So, I mean, I wasn't pissed that it wasn't Doomsday. I actually was relieved because, let's be honest, Doomsday was done poorly in BVS. He looked bad. I always hate to jump into the death of Superman. Doomsday was done awesome in Krypton, and they missed their chance of, bringing William Day as Doomsday, so they screwed that up. So I was not upset with the reveal. I thought it was pretty sweet, and I have another theory that I'll bring up at the end. But James, do you want to do the honors and present with who the reveal was?
Yeah. So the reveal after Steel blasted the containment suit repeatedly with red solar flares.
That did nothing.
That did not phase the creature. Is Bizarro Superman.
Bizarro.
Yeah, Bizarro, which he looked really cool. The suit. So clearly he has a Superman suit with the backwards S. He's very pale white, kind of like we're used to, but almost even zombie-like, demonic-like, especially with the writing and stuff that he has on his face, and glowing blue eyes.
It looks like Injustice 2 Bizarro, the video game.
Well, we know some of in some iterations he's got freeze beams from his eyes, and he blows fire instead of freeze breath.
Yeah.
So, I mean, possibility. I don't know.
So, Ryan, were you happy with Bizarro or not?
I would say no. I was like, yawn, lame, been here before. Bizarro's he's not the greatest villain. He's not the most compelling villain. This villain can be easily dealt with in 1 to 2 episodes, if not 3. So, no, I was not happy. When I saw that containment suit, I'm thinking, oh, baby, they're going into heavy hitters. This show is about to hit the fan. This show is going to turn up to 11, and they're going to go with Doomsday. I'm like, yes, put Tyler Hoechlin in the toughest, bloodiest battle of his life in season 2, and I will be there ringside to see this fight go. It's about to go down, as Kevin Hart would say in the GIF that we use on social media. It's about to go down. So I wanted that, and unfortunately, I see a weird-looking suit, a weird-looking man who looks kind of like Clark, and I'm thinking, oh, great, Bizarro. Yawn. Big deal. Been there, done that. Saw it on Smallville. Granted, I know it's different.
You also saw Doomsday on Smallville.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, the way they did Bizarro on Smallville was different, and I didn't mind that. It was fine. I know
Dude,
he
it
came
sucked.
back and, like, no,
It
I was
sucked.
fine. Hey, look, I liked
Bizarro
it. It didn't.
sucked on Smallville.
I mean,
Okay,
it didn't bother me. I mean, was he like? I'm not. Listen, let me put it to you this way. I don't think the version we got of him on Smallville is like the greatest of all time. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying it was fine for what it was. I was fine with it. But this version on Superman and Lois, I'm just like, Bizarro, really? There's like a million other villains you could have had in this show, and you pick Bizarro. He's like the lower tier of villains for me when it comes to Superman's pantheon of villains. He's like the lower bottom tier. He's so lame. But look, I've been surprised before. Things that DC and Warner Brothers have surprised me. I mean, look, I didn't think Zack Snyder could direct a Superman movie, and he knocked it out of the park. You know, so I've been wrong. So I'll keep tuning in. I'll see what happens with Bizarro, but so far I'm not very impressed. I wish they would do something else with these characters because I just feel like they're running into the same familiar themes I've seen in other shows. Like, what's his name? Is it Jordan who has the problem with Sarah? Is that it?
yeah.
Okay, Jordan Sarah's thing, that, like, what, really? Okay. I mean, look, they still like each other, they're still going to give it a shot, and that's great. I wish them nothing but the best, but it's like, I don't know. I have certain things about the show just rub me the wrong way, and I'm thinking, well, why? But Bizarro, on the other hand, we'll see what happens, man. And look, you're fine to not hate on, or to hate on the Smallville version of Bizarro. That's fine. I get it. It wasn't everyone's cup of tea. His face just shifts in the sunlight, like a screensaver on a computer. I get it, but it worked for me, and I didn't complain about it. But clearly, you had a complaint, and that's fine.
No, I mean it was okay. Just it was completely different than any Bizarro. It was its own thing. I mean, let's take a step back. Go ahead, James.
I mean, the concept of the Bizarro that they used, a Kryptonian experiment, and the way he duplicated and was the reverse of him in many ways, that was kind of cool. Some of the execution moments, especially his time with Lana and stuff, was a little rough.
So here's my thing. Have we ever seen a good Bizarro before? We've seen Bizarro used on Superboy, Smallville, and Supergirl. And none of them have... Like, Superboy has been more of the true comic book, like Silver Age style, than the other versions we've had. Now, here's my thought process. We have this Bizarro, but we don't know anything about him. What we know is somebody pulled him from somewhere. So is he from a Bizarro world that maybe was destroyed during Crisis? Because the whole mind connection thing was similar to when two people from different Earths were occupying the same Earth. We saw this on Supergirl. We saw this on Batwoman. Maybe on The Flash. So it kind of shows this, because it doesn't feel like the failed clone.
No, absolutely not.
It feels like he's from another dimension or another Earth. It would be interesting if like they did something where he's like from this Earth, like the upside down, for like the other side of the dimension, or the dark dimension, or the dark multiverse even would be interesting. He seems to be more intelligent. He's not going to be as much as the that we've gotten. That's the Bizarro I can't stand reading comics with Bizarro.
Well, this one sounds like he's like an alien language. Almost, I mean, who knows? Probably like Kryptonian in reverse or something.
Because it just said alien language on the bottom in the subtitles. I think there's something up with his necklace. It looks almost like the pyramid of like the Phantom Zone. And he went to the fortress, and it makes me wonder if he'll have a crystal or something that he can ignite and start the fortress. So we're going to see what it goes there. He's not the only villain that's going to emerge this season. So I don't think he's going to be the through line villain of the season.
Yeah, who's the woman who's working in the mines? Like, who's she? Who does she work for? What's her deal? Because I feel like it's just another excuse to have a Morgan Edge type character on the show.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Something
find
I was
out hopefully
curious
soon.
about, right? Well, something I was curious about with the fact that he's in the mines, the XK. I was kind of wondering if the XK wasn't containing him or something, and with their removal process, like freed him.
Could be. I think it kind of like I just keep focusing on what she said on the phone was when he came through. And he's more powerful than we thought. So it makes me wonder if somebody was experimenting with something. Now
Maybe.
I shared this earlier. So this episode, we're kind of focusing just on the Bizarro part. And we'll kind of talk about the other things of the episode as well. Brian, I do want to mention this because Brian mentioned the Bizarro was cool, but his only issue was it's just like having like a lot of these shows and Marvel films do, where once again the villain is just the hero, the same as the hero. And
It's a mirror version of himself.
The last season we got Tal, same set of powers as Superman, and now we're getting Bizarro, kind of the same set, just backwards. And I agree with that. But I'm curious if this will be like if he'll be the full-on villain or just like a catalyst villain. Now
He's going to be a pawn.
that's kind of what I'm thinking. But I don't think he's going to be as dumb, intelligence. Now the alley woman that Lois meets at the end, who's like running the cult group that Lucy was a part of or whatever. People are theorizing, is she Granny Goodness in disguise? Could she be? And I'm like, you know what? Just from the 1 second she's in the episode, sure. I'm game. I'm game for it.
Right.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be cool with that because, different villain, stronger villain, more menacing villain to see Superman fight up against. And also, where's Lucy? What's her deal? And who plays her too? Like, who's the actress who's going to play Lucy if she ever shows up?
Lucy's next episode. It's Jenna Dewan. She's back. It's her first
one from the first season of Supergirl.
Yeah, it's her first.
Kidding.
It's her first appearance post-crisis and her first appearance since the first season of Supergirl.
I must have missed her in the crossover because there's a lot of stuff that goes on there on those crossovers.
No, she hasn't been. She hasn't been back since the first season of Supergirl. So,
oh my gosh, dude, that's going way back.
Yeah, she was just cast in the role, and it's her post-crisis. So, it seems like her backstory is going to be different. Like maybe she didn't follow in her father's footsteps and join the military.
Oh no, this Lucy's going to be completely different.
Wow, Jenna Dewan. Okay, be interesting to see what she's got because I think wasn't she like the co-host of like World of Dance on NBC or whatever it was with J-Lo?
I don't know, dude. If it's not a Marvel show,
no, I'm sorry. That's where my mind automatically goes because I'm like, wait a minute, wasn't she the host of like some dance show on NBC that lasted a couple seasons with J-Lo as one of the lead judges?
Well, she was a dancer, so it would not surprise me.
Yeah, I think she was the host of the show, if not a co-host there, buddy.
So,
but even so, welcome back to the world of acting, Jenna Dewan.
I knew her. She was on a show my wife was watching called The Witches of Eastwick or East End, or is a play off Eastwick.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was like a rehash of The Witches of Eastwick. Yeah.
So I know her from there because my wife was watching that show. But
interesting.
It'll be cool to see her back next week.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the other characters this week. John Henry Irons had a good, arc as far as this episode where him and Nat, basically the coolest part for me is at the end where she basically says he can't go out in that suit and they need to build him a new one. And that was one of my, big things about this predictions for this season is I want him to get a new suit that doesn't look like Master Chief. I want him to get the S and get a cape. I want this S with the rivets
with a giant hammer,
with a bigger hammer. But they just reused a prop from they had before, so it made sense. Got to keep that cost down. So I mean, I like that. I liked the big John Henry suit up scene where he says, "Send my suit," and he jumps in the air and his suit comes. flying to him. That was
Yeah, that was pretty sweet. He jumped off of whatever, something barrel or something in the middle of the quarry, and the suit mimicked his position as to come back together around him.
so I liked that. The Jordan and Sarah, like how they worked out their relationship, I find it interesting. I thought it was interesting just when he has the breakdown about wanting to tell her, and Clark basically says, if in a year you still feel the same, we'll have a different conversation. I thought that was very, like, that's what you have to do. It's very much a father trying to communicate with his son, because the secret is not just Jordan's. It's not just his to tell. Like, it is a family secret. So that made a lot of sense to me, that they would have that discussion.
And you can't expose everybody to be targets to Superman's rogues gallery. I mean, most of them would splatter you across the wall with damn near a thought.
So, but yeah, I thought it was just a good, because and we actually have confirmation in this episode of something we have been debating forever. We know that he did never tell Lana that he was Superman.
Yeah. That everything that was with the boys and with Clark was really good. The argument with Jordan, the rage well up. You heard his voice echo, and his eyes glow red. And then the Jonathan storyline, being obsessed with the guy taking drugs to become the starting quarterback, and getting into a fight after he finds out that he is actually taking XK, and it's souping him up a little bit, and that his girlfriend is the one who sold it to what's his name? Timmy. And
yeah, exactly.
yeah. The big fight, and when they're fighting on the football field, I mean, it's pretty cool. Clark's reaction time, as taking a punch from Jonathan. At first, I wasn't sure was it going to be Clark say something that he actually felt that because he hit him like super strong with a punch, or but he didn't react that way. He didn't say anything about it. So I just feel like he reacted in that moment, so his son didn't shatter his hand across his face and took the punch and fell down. But the way he was very angry at him, and he couldn't contain his heat vision, and how he blasted it into his hands like he let Jordan do, but much more intense. He actually scolded. He actually burned his hands in that moment.
Yeah. What'd you guys think about that?
I mean, it was badass. I enjoyed seeing Superman being affected in that way. Like it wasn't just the headaches and knocking him down for out of commission just because of like a headache or whatever. He was talking about the flood of emotions, the rage and the fear that he couldn't control. So I think Tyler is doing a fantastic job with a lot of different things that he's given.
What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool that we're seeing different layers to this character and how he deals with certain things, especially domestic stuff. Good God. I mean, taking a punch from your kid, having to haul his keister, sorry, keep it family friendly. Haul his keister into a locker room and say, hey, don't do that. Don't be punching. You know, and he's like, my eyes are glowing. I got to put him in my hand. So I get that. Like, it's cool stuff. It's different layers to this character that I have not seen before. And I'm intrigued by that. I'm interested by that. I want to see where it goes. At the same time, him confronting his girlfriend at the end saying, hey, I know what you're doing. I know you're a drug dealer. And I know you're juicing people up with XK. But do me a favor. Give me some of that juice because I'm going to take drugs and enhance my abilities because I don't want to beat the living crap out of Timmy. So I don't care if you're supplying to the whole town. I'm not going to rat you out. I just want some supply, and I want it now. I'm like, damn, boy, you're going to the dark side already? What are you, some kind of fool? Oh, yeah, you are because you're a teenager. You don't have brains. So,
I mean,
I'm really
they also
curious as to what the XK is going to do to him.
right.
It is
That's
half Kryptonian biology.
and that is my thought is like, is he taking into account like who he is? You know, I don't feel like it came out of nowhere because I really feel like they kind of seeded things throughout the first season where it's kind of showing that he's at a point where he's tired. The whole first season, he's getting shuffled to the back, shuffled to the back, shuffled to the back. Even when he tries to make a bond with John Henry, you know, it just doesn't hold. Like he has no purpose and he's tired of it, you know? It is interesting that Jordan doesn't seem to be playing football this year.
yeah, I wonder how he weaseled his way out of that one. Oh, wait, because he's in love with the love of his life. I want to marry her, Dad. No, you don't. You're 15. You don't know what you want, which is so true. And by the way, I don't see Jordan and Sarah lasting another year. I don't see it at all. Because as a wise person once said, and I think you said this, Tyler, every Clark needs to find a Lana to get to a Lois.
Yep.
So Sarah is Lana in this scenario. Clearly she is. Clearly she is. And then in season 3 or 4, however long they're going to extend this series and this role of this character of Jordan and Jonathan, Jordan's going to find his Lois, but Sarah's not it. Because clearly in this episode, Sarah revealed that she's confused. She's not sure what her quote-unquote identity is. So it's like, you know what, Sarah, do your thing. We'll ride this out for another 6 months, but I don't see us lasting another year. And then Jordan or Sarah is going to break it off. And it doesn't matter who does it. One of them's going to break it, and then Jordan's going to realize, you know what? She was my Lana. Now I got to go find my Lois. Period.
Yeah, I'm not against it. I think it's gonna drop heavy, on him, and we'll see how it plays out because I could see it building up to when he has to reveal it to her. And like he reveals it to her, and maybe that's what causes her to like step away or something. I don't know. I don't see them being the long run. And you know, the whole Jonathan with Candace thing, we talked about that, how weird it's been because she was not his girlfriend last season. And you know, the whole drug dealer thing is weird. So I'm just kind of interested in where it's going to go, or, you know, I'm also interested in like where Anderson's going to go with things.
Right.
And
I mean, not that it makes it right or anything that she was doing it, but they do the, you know, she's doing it because she has to help pay the bills and
I get that, but I mean, you know, like you can go get a job.
It's not the right way to go, and I mean, if you can get a job, but you know, also it is the fact that Smallville has kind of been a dying town since before the first season began.
Because we got the scene where Lana's talking in her mayoral rally, and people are like, "Oh, like those free interest loans that you want to do, are those like those reverse mortgages that you sold us back, or when Edge came in and all this?" And she's like, I didn't know what Edge was really up to. And they're like, oh, yeah, like you don't know what's going to happen. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. I was glad to see Sophie back this episode. They finally acknowledged that the Cushings have another child, because that's been a big thing of mine. Like, where has this other child been?
I mean, she was only in a few episodes of the first season, and this is the first time she's returned in the second.
Well, at least in the first season, they gave us the dialogue about she went to stay with Grandma for a few days.
Maybe it was an extended stay. I don't know. By the way, Lana running for mayor, that's different. I'm curious to see where that goes. She'll probably win because who's going to... the one guy who's running the town, yeah, but I think Lana's going to find a way to beat him, and she'll become the savior of Smallville, and then Superman will just be like, oh, my first girlfriend that I ever had, Lana's the new mayor. That's awesome. And by the way, I think deep down, somewhere in that heart of hearts of Lana, I think she knows who Clark really is. I think she knows the secret.
I don't know, just because in the first one we got that scene where they're talking about the car wreck, and she was like, yeah, like we had the car wreck, and Clark, he was okay. Like, he just
He ate his Wheaties that morning. He ate the breakfast of champions. That's why he can't get hurt. Wheaties, guys, free public publicity. No, I'm kidding. Free plug right there. I'm just kidding. But yeah,
it just seemed like she was very she wasn't putting two and two together. It would have been an interesting scene if they had done it, where it was like them talking, and she kind of was, as she was saying it, starting to put stuff together in her mind.
I think she knows though.
But
I mean, I could be wrong, but I think she knows, and then she's going to end up becoming mayor at the end of the season, beating the bad guy, and then whoever Bizarro's being manipulated by because he's a pawn in somebody else's scheme. Maybe it's that woman who's down in the mines, or the person on the other end of that phone that the woman's talking to from the mines. Like, yeah, we found it. Oh, we're going to release it. Oh, yeah, we got this, boss. Hangs up the phone. We're going to find out who that is in a couple episodes, and then that's going to culminate in a big battle at the end of the season. And then obviously Superman's going to win the day because you can't kill Superman, right? Because it's a Superman show, right? Or am I wrong?
Yeah. So here's something I think would be really neat. They want to mix with our expectations. Is you have Bizarro.
Sure.
But what happens is Bizarro creates the Doomsday virus, and you kind of do a version of Super Doomed.
Yeah. See, I had a thought that maybe this. The reason Bizarro is so big is he is a super doomed version from another universe or something.
But he only looked big in the suit.
He was a Superman. Maybe he was a Superman infected by the Doomsday virus.
He only looked big when he was in the suit. Once he was out of the suit, he looked normal.
But were they together when he was out of the suit? Because when he flew off, he was still in the suit. When they were face to face, I don't know. Even an overly large suit seems a bit much for him to be 8 feet tall.
Yeah, it's padding, suit. It's a prison. It's perspective. Budgets. They wanted you to believe it was Doomsday up until the end.
Yeah. I know, they did. They had me. I honestly, when I saw the suit, I'm thinking, oh, they're bringing in Doomsday, baby. This is going to be great. This is going to turn Superman and Lois up to 1,000. And then, it's Bizarro. Never mind.
If it was the 7th episode, or the 10th, or 13th or something of a 15-episode season, I would believe it. But unless they did something where the whole season was supposed to be the death of Superman type thing, and, we got a whole episode of them fighting, and they killed him off, and then, you had to have Steel, then Jonathan or Jordan step up and do stuff, and then you kind of have something going on. But I think Super Doomed would be an awesome plot to bring in to this show, compared to actually just doing Doomsday. So here's the thing: we kind of hit around this, and we kind of talked about this episode and what's important and everything. This is the 5th Superman series, or 6th if you count Supergirl, 7th if you count Krypton. My bad. So what villain do you think we should bring? Because, like you said, Smallville ran for 200 some episodes, and between Smallville, Lois, and Clark and stuff, you are seeing repeated plots. I mean, Supergirl was full of things that got recycled from Superman stories and Smallville plots. And so what is a villain that we could bring in that we haven't seen done?
Mongol.
I already gave you my pitch for Mongol, so you know where I stand with that one.
But I agree.
I know,
Like,
because you're
it's
awesome.
Like it's this. Well, it's this huge level threat. War World. I mean, depending on the version of War World, I mean, could be that it could be a giant weapon. A conquering despot who has Superman level strength and durability. I mean, and then we know that they have been using a lot of modern storylines. So, I mean, we've got a fantastic War World saga going on right now in Action Comics. So,
yeah. What's a villain you think of, Ryan?
My gosh, there's so many of them. I mean, but listen, this series, the one that's going on right now, which is Superman and Lois, it's still in its infancy. It's very, very young. It's only the second season. How many episodes have they had in total? Like 16, 18 episodes so far? So there's
18.
really not a whole lot. What is it?
18.
18, thank you. So there's really not a whole lot to go on. 18 episodes is almost the average of what a full-length series gets, right?
Yeah.
So it's still young. There's a lot of room to play with. There's a lot of ground to cover, and there's a big sandbox that DC and Warner Brothers can play in with this series. Although I would have liked to have seen Henry Cavill get his own trilogy, which unfortunately will never see the light of day. Thanks a lot, executives who don't have a brain. But with Superman and Lois, they're not going to do it in the early seasons because it's something saved for much, much later, which I totally get because you got to build up certain things, right? You got to make things an event. You can't just do it in one push, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm going to choose a villain
tell that to the Warner Brothers executives and them making Batman vs Superman and Justice League.
Oh boy, we can talk about that for another time, James. Let me tell you, brother. As a DC fan, like as a big DC fan that I am, there's a lot of things I have to share about that, but we'll get to that later. So, villain-wise, since we got Bizarro, and you mentioned something about what was it, Mongol and War World, which is interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing that myself. I want them to. This isn't going to happen, but this is like a big wish. You know what I'm saying? Like this is like top tier. I want to see him take a trip over, maybe not just War World, but I want to see some new gods come into this. I want to see Darkseid because they teed it on Smallville, but they never got a chance to fully realize it because of budget and because of story and because they were up against a tight the time frame at the end of the series itself. I want to see them go and bring in Desaad. I want to see them bring in Darkseid. I want to see some of that stuff brought in and see how that works with Superman and his world. I want to see how that mixes. If it mixes right, that's great, and if it doesn't, that's fine too. I'd probably go with. I mean, Darkseid's like heavy hitter. So if you want to go something below that, probably go with Desaad or Granny Goodness, who we may have seen last week with the leader of the cult that came in to meet up with Lois. So I'd go in that route. Some of the stuff that Darkseid and the New Gods did. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'd probably go with that. I'd like to see that happen because that would turn Superman and Lois up to 11, and it would do something that no other Superman series, live action series anyway, has really attempted to. I mean, they've attempted, but it never like fully succeeded. I would like to see them do that in live action because I know they did it so well on Superman the Animated Series into JL and JLU. Let's see if you can bring it into the live action realm on Superman and Lois. I'd like to see it.
All right. I think we pretty much got it here. I just, it's always because, there was a great, if you get a chance, Ryan, there was a great interview on the Hall of Justice podcast with Todd Helbing talking about this season. And the fact that Todd himself never used the term doomsday made me know that it wasn't doomsday. Listening to him talk about the stories and everything and talk about that this is post-crisis and if they want to reuse any elements or story points, they can do it their own way now that was, used in Supergirl since Supergirl pulled so much from Superman stories and stole so many Superman storylines that you would expect in a Superman show. So
Well, I suppose since it's so fresh, it gives them the ability to do something new. What they're doing now.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see eventually but a better real version of Parasite compared to what they did on Supergirl. I think Parasite's a very interesting villain to play with when you're Superman.
Yeah. He was good on the animated series in '96.
Exactly.
Yeah, with the '96 to 2000 with who was it, Tim Daly at the time? Yeah.
Yep.
It's a good series too. I have seasons 1 and 3 on DVD.
I don't know if I would want to do Metallo or not.
Ooh.
I don't know. Like, they did a pretty cool Corbin on Supergirl.
I like Metallo as a villain too.
So I mean, but I don't know. They kind of created their own villain in the first season with something new and something a little different. So it would be interesting to see what we can get that maybe we aren't even expecting, because they're going to do their own version of something. So.
Hey, new show, new path. Make your own path, man.
Yeah. But all right, Ryan, let's go ahead here. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
That is a wonderful question, kind sir. And once again, thanks for having me. It was great to meet you guys and great to be on this show. I really appreciate it. I look forward to coming back again soon. You can find me and everything that we're doing on all forms of social media simply at It's Nerd Culture. That's everything on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, our YouTube channel. We talk about all things nerdy, whether it's movies, TV series, video games, comic books, all that great stuff. I do a show on Saturdays called And I Quote, which is on Saturdays at 12 p.m. EST, where I interview content creators of all shapes and sizes. Check that out. Also, I do another show on Thursday nights currently that's called Boba's Weekly Bounty, where we talk about the latest episode of The Book of Boba Fett. On Thursdays at 8 p.m. EST, I have special guests joining me each and every week, so don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. And in case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, you're very welcome. And as I always say, remember.
Look up in the sky.
I want to invite you to check out the Krypton Report Patreon. For $1 a month, you can hear exclusive content. We have discussions on movies or other comics or stuff that's going on in pop culture. We have guest appearances. And we have plenty of fun times. We also have movie commentaries that we like to do. It's one of our favorite things to do. So check that out. It's just $1 a month. It's chump change, It just helps us keep the podcast going. We're not here to make, money off and get rich. It's just nice to have a little help, to pay the bills here. So $1 a month. Come join us on our Patreon. Krypton Report, patreon.com.
And if you want to have a good time, keep listening to the Krypton Report.
If you're enjoying this podcast, here's some of our favorite podcasts to check out. Digging for Kryptonite, The Aspiring Kryptonian, Superman the Animated Podcast, The Last Sons of Krypton, The Geek of Steel, The All-Star Superfan Podcast, It All Comes Back to Superman, and Superboy Legacy, Supergirl Radio, and of course, always hold on to Smallville. Check all those out, enjoy those supercasts, and remember, keep listening. The Krypton Report is a Tears production. We thank you for listening and enjoying, and please support us on our Patreon account, our TeePublic store, and check out our social media. Always remember to look up in the sky.